Hello and welcome to Quiz Class. I'm your host, Ellen, and today we have 100 trivia questions for you. Let's take a look at our Quiz Class awards. You can let us know how you rank in the comments at the end, along with the answer to the bonus question. And our categories for today. Let's begin with meteorology. Which rare meteorological phenomenon involves a rapidly rotating column of fire caused by intense heat? Fire cyclone, fire whirl, or pyroclastic spin? Fire whirl. During which atmospheric phenomenon can light travel through ice crystals, forming a 22-degree halo around the sun or moon? Aurora borealis, ice halo, or sundog? Ice halo. What term describes a cold weather phenomenon where steam rises from water, creating a fog-like appearance over lakes or oceans? Arctic haze, sea smoke, or frost fog? Sea smoke. The Great Blizzard of 1888 devastated the northeastern United States. What unusual weather condition exacerbated its impact? Nor'easter combination storm. In 1931, the deadliest recorded weather disaster struck China. What caused this calamity? Yangtze River flooding, Himalayan blizzard, or typhoon swarm? The Yangtze River flooding. What causes the eerie phenomenon of St. Elmo's fire, often seen on ship masts during storms? Electrical discharge, static buildup, or refraction of lightning? Electrical discharge from ionized air. Which of these is the primary reason the wind speeds increase dramatically at the top of Mount Everest? Jet stream influence, thin atmospheric compression, or accelerated air density? Jet stream influence. The 1900 Galveston hurricane remains one of the deadliest natural disasters in U.S. history. What failure contributed most to the high death toll? Weak construction standards, inadequate evacuation, or lack of early warning system? The lack of early warning systems. What is the name of the effect that results when warm, moist air rises rapidly and cools, forming intense thunderstorms? Convective instability, cumulus saturation, or thermal convection? Convective instability. In meteorology, what is the term for the phenomenon where rotating winds create multiple smaller tornadoes orbiting a primary tornado? Mesoscale cyclone, multi-vortex tornado, or tornado spawning? Multi-vortex tornado. The phenomenon called a derecho is characterized by what unique weather pattern? A fast-moving line of severe storms, a stationary cyclone over land, or a rapid cooling thunderstorm cluster? A fast-moving line of severe storms. What meteorological tool uses Doppler effect principles to measure precipitation and wind speeds inside storms? Doppler radar, LIDAR weather scanner, or anemometer array? Doppler radar. Which of these rare weather events involves lightning striking during a volcanic eruption? Pyroclastic lightning, volcanic thunderstorm, or lava surge discharge? Pyroclastic lightning. Which layer of the atmosphere contains the jet streams that influence global weather patterns? Tropopause, mesosphere, or exosphere? Tropopause. What is the term for a localized downdraft in a thunderstorm that produces intense, damaging winds? Supercell gust, microburst, or wind shear? Microburst. In meteorology, the term atmospheric river describes a concentrated flow of moisture in the atmosphere. What critical role does this phenomenon play in global weather? Delivering heavy rainfall to coastal regions. The Pineapple Express is a famous example of an atmospheric river. Which two regions does it typically transport moisture between? Hawaii and the U.S. West Coast, South Pacific Islands in Australia, or the Caribbean and Eastern United States? Hawaii and the U.S. West Coast. During strong atmospheric river events, the risk of which natural disaster significantly increases in coastal and mountainous regions? Flash flooding. Scientists track atmospheric rivers using a rating system. What primary factors determine an atmospheric river's intensity? Moisture transport and duration. Atmospheric rivers are known to bring extreme rainfall. What percentage of the world's total precipitation is attributed to these phenomena annually? 10%, 25%, or 40%? 25%. And let's move over to the human body. The Ploughman's Lunch, a classic British pub dish, was heavily promoted in the 20th century as a traditional meal. What industry group is credited with popularizing it for commercial gain? The Milk Marketing Board. Originally introduced by South American indigenous people, cassava, also known as manioc, must undergo specific preparation to remove what toxic compound? Cyanide, arsenic, or tannic acid? Cyanide. Which now popular beverage was first consumed as a fermented drink by the Aztecs and later modified by Spanish colonizers to include sugar? Coffee, tea, or hot chocolate? Hot chocolate. The term barbecue comes from the Taino word barbacoa. What was the original use of barbacoa? A wooden frame for slow cooking meat, a ceremonial altar, or a food preservation rack? A wooden frame for slow cooking meat. Oysters Rockefeller, named for the wealthiest American of its time, features a sauce so rich it resembles what traditional French preparation? Béarnaise sauce, Mornay sauce, or velouté sauce? Mornay sauce. Originally created as a wartime substitute for cream, the American dessert mock apple pie uses what unexpected ingredient to mimic the taste and texture of apples? Ritz crackers, potatoes, or squash? Ritz crackers. The Scandinavian dish lutefisk, a preserved fish delicacy, undergoes a unique process involving soaking the fish In what chemical substance? Lye, salt brine, or vinegar? Lye. Originally a royal delicacy, foie gras dates back to ancient Egypt, where geese were overfed to produce fatty livers. What natural phenomenon inspired this practice? The seasonal fattening of geese before migration. Tempura, a hallmark of Japanese cuisine, was introduced by missionaries from which European country? Portugal, Spain, or Italy? Portugal. Worcestershire sauce, a staple condiment, owes its distinctive flavor to the fermentation of which unexpected ingredient? Soybeans, anchovies, or mushrooms? Anchovies. The iconic French baguette became regulated by a 1920 law to prevent bakers from working before what time of day? 3 a.m., 4 a.m., or 5 a.m.? 4 a.m. Known for its creamy texture, Nutella owes its invention to a scarcity of cocoa during what historic event? The Great Depression, World War II, or the Napoleonic Wars? World War II. Saffron, the world's most expensive spice by weight, is derived from which part of the crocus flower? The stigma, the petals, or the bulb? The stigma. Champagne, the sparkling wine synonymous with celebrations, is named after a region in France, but owes its bubbly texture to what accidental process? Secondary fermentation, harvesting grapes during frost, or overaging of grape? Secondary fermentation in the bottle. In medieval Europe, the banquet course, originally served after meals, was designed for what unusual purpose? Masking unpleasant odors with sweet scents, encouraging guests to socialize, or honoring the head of the household? Masking unpleasant odors with sweet scents. Swiss fondue, traditionally made with melted cheese, was originally popularized as a method to use up what kind of ingredients? Stale bread and hardened cheese, spoiled wine, or overripe fruit? Stale bread and hardened cheese. The ancient Roman condiment garum was made using which unusual ingredient? Crushed olives and seawater, fermented fish intestines, or boiled grape skins? Fermented fish intestines. Tabasco sauce owes its tangy kick to a fermentation process lasting how long? 6 months, 1 year, or 3 years? 3 years. The margherita pizza, named after Queen Margherita of Savoy, uses ingredients meant to symbolize what? The Italian flag, seasonal harvests, or the Holy Trinity? The Italian flag. The British dessert spotted dick gets its unusual name from the inclusion of dried fruits, which were historically referred to by what slang term? Spots, buttons, or pearls? Spots. Forgotten technologies for question 41. Before the widespread use of the telephone, The pneumatic tube system was used to transport messages in many cities. By what mechanism did these tubes propel messages? Air pressure differentials, magnetic levitation, or steam power? Air pressure differentials. The Enigma machine, a cipher device used in World War II, relied on rotating rotors to encode messages. What critical flaw in its design helped cryptographers break its code? Rotors could only rotate clockwise, letters never encoded, or limited number of rotor combinations. Letters never encoded to themselves. In the 19th century, the shape semaphore system was an optical telegraph network used for long-distance communication. What was its primary limitation? It required clear weather to operate. The daguerreotype, one of the earliest forms of photography, was replaced by newer methods. What was its most significant drawback? The images were fragile and could not be reproduced. Vacuum tube technology was eventually replaced by transistors. What was one of the biggest weaknesses of vacuum tubes? Excessive heat generation, inability to process binary data, or difficulty in mass production? Excessive heat generation. The Betamax video format was a competitor to VHS in the 1980s. What was one of the primary reasons it lost the format war? Poor marketing strategy, limited support from rental stores, or shorter recording time? Shorter recording time. The Zeus 3, developed in 1941, is considered the first programmable digital computer. What material was primarily used for its memory storage? Telephone relays, magnetic tape, or paper punch cards? Telephone relays. Punch cards were once the standard for inputting data into computers. What was the maximum amount of data a standard punch card could store? 64 characters, 80 characters, or 100 characters? 80 characters. Monorail technology was hailed as the future of urban transportation in the mid-20th century. What is the main reason it did not gain widespread adoption? High infrastructure costs and limited flexibility. Before modern refrigeration, ice houses were used to store ice and keep food cold. What innovation made them obsolete? Electric refrigeration systems, gas-powered cooling units, or insulated thermoses? Electric refrigeration systems. The Dvorak simplified keyboard, designed to improve typing efficiency, never replaced the QWERTY layout. Why? Resistance due to widespread QWERTY adoption. The Zeppelin airship was a popular mode of air travel in the early 20th century. What catastrophic event severely damaged its reputation? The explosion of the Graf Zeppelin II, the Hindenburg disaster, or a series of mid-air collisions? The Hindenburg disaster. The laser disc, a precursor to DVDs, offered superior video quality. What was one of its major flaws that led to its downfall? Discs were too large and expensive, poor sound quality, or lack of widescreen support. Discs were too large and expensive. Before compact discs, 8-track tapes were a popular format for music. What made 8-tracks less appealing compared to cassettes? Songs often switch tracks mid-playback. The Paternoster elevator, still found in a few places today, operates continuously without doors. What was the primary safety concern with this design? The difficulty in entering and exiting safely. The Concorde was a supersonic passenger jet that revolutionized air travel. Why was it retired in 2003? High operational costs and noise pollution. The Babbage difference engine, an early concept of a mechanical computer, was never fully built in its creator's lifetime. Why? Funding and engineering difficulties. Before the invention of quartz watches, pendulum clocks were the most accurate timekeeping devices. What environmental factor often disrupted their accuracy? Changes in temperature and humidity. The Nikola Tesla designed Wardenclyffe Tower was meant to provide wireless energy transmission. Why was the project abandoned? Funding was cut due to lack of practical results. The voltaic pile, the first true battery invented by Alessandro Volta, used brine-soaked paper to separate which two metals? Zinc and copper, lead and tin, or silver and aluminum? Zinc and copper. Abandoned places for our next category. Known as the door to hell, this abandoned site in Turkmenistan is a natural gas field that has been burning since 1971. What is the official name of this site? Darvaza crater. Pripyat, Ukraine, was abandoned after the Chernobyl nuclear disaster in 1986. What was the main reason this town was originally built? To house workers of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. In which of these U.S. states can you find the abandoned mining town of Bodie, now preserved as a ghost town and historical park? California, Nevada, or Colorado? California. Known for its haunting beauty, the abandoned Spree Park in Berlin was a popular amusement park in the late 20th century. What caused its ultimate closure? Financial mismanagement and smuggling scandals. Built in 1911, the Michigan Central Station in Detroit was abandoned in 1988. What was the architectural style of this once bustling train depot? Beaux Arts, Art Deco, or Gothic Revival? Beaux Arts. The Wunsdorf bunker complex in Germany, abandoned after the Cold War, was nicknamed the Forbidden City for housing which group during the 20th century? German resistance fighters, Soviet military personnel, or Allied spies? Soviet military personnel. Oradour-sur-Glane, a village in France, remains preserved as a memorial. Why was it abandoned in 1944? A massacre during a Nazi reprisal operation. The ancient city of Ani, located on the border of Turkey and Armenia, was once referred to as the city of 1001 churches. What primarily led to its abandonment? A combination of Mongol invasions and earthquakes. Balaclava, a now abandoned submarine base in Crimea, was designed to withstand what specific type of warfare? Nuclear attacks, chemical warfare, or conventional bombings? Nuclear attacks. The abandoned Ryanair hotel in Bucharest, Romania, remains unfinished due to which historical event disrupting its development? The Romanian Revolution of 1989. The Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan houses many abandoned Soviet spacecraft. Which of these notable space missions launched from this site? Yuri Gagarin's first human spaceflight. The Salton Sea in California became a hub for abandoned vacation resorts. What was the primary cause of the area's decline? Rising salinity and toxic algae blooms in the water. Krakow, an abandoned medieval village in Italy, became a ghost town after suffering repeated disasters. What event was the final blow that forced its evacuation? A devastating landslide. The Centralia mine fire in Pennsylvania has been burning underground since 1962. What was the original cause of this fire? Garbage burning in a landfill, accidentally igniting as coal steam. Varosha, the abandoned district of Famagusta in Cyprus, was once a glamorous resort destination. Why has it remained off limits since 1974? It is fenced off as part of a United Nations buffer zone. The Monsell Sea forts off the coast of England were abandoned after the military use ended. What unique shape do these structures have? Connected steel towers resembling oil rigs. Bodie, a gold rush ghost town in California, is protected under a preservation policy. What is this unique policy called? Living ruins, arrested decay, or static preservation? Arrested decay. The Buzludza Monument in Bulgaria is an abandoned Soviet-era structure with a futuristic design. What was its original purpose? A meeting hall for the Bulgarian Communist Party. The abandoned amusement park, Six Flags New Orleans, was left to decay after Hurricane Katrina. Why was it never rebuilt? The area was deemed too prone to future flooding. The ancient ruins of Machu Picchu are well preserved due to their remote location. But what specific design feature of its construction has helped it withstand centuries of earthquakes? The use of precisely cut interlocking stones. Unhealthy foods, for question 81. Which fast food item has been dubbed the most caloric burger by health watchdog groups due to its massive size and toppings? Ultimate Stacker Supreme, Triple Bypass Burger, or Monster Mega Melt? The Triple Bypass Burger. In 2006, trans fats were mandated to be listed on food labels in the US. But what unhealthy manufacturing process creates trans fats in many processed foods? Pasteurization, fermentation, or hydrogenation? Hydrogenation. Studies have shown that excessive consumption of what common sweetener, often found in sodas, contributes to non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. High fructose corn syrup. During the 20th century, what chemical compound used to preserve cured meats like bacon and sausages was linked to an increased risk of cancer? Sodium nitrate. What fast food item was infamously found to contain pink slime, a process additive made from beef trimmings and ammonia? Ground beef patties. In the late 1990s, the FDA required a warning label on foods containing which fat substitute due to its link to severe gastrointestinal side effects? Lard, shortening, or olestra? Olestra. Which commonly used artificial food coloring banned in several European countries has been linked to hyperactivity in children and other health concerns? Red 40, yellow 5, or blue 1? Red 40. What ingredient often used to thicken processed foods like salad dressings and sauces has been scrutinized for potentially causing chronic gut inflammation? Carrageenan. In the 1950s, what controversial flavor enhancer became a staple in processed foods and later sparked debates over its potential effects on brain health? Monosodium glutamate. What is the name of the chemical compound used to create the buttery flavor in microwave popcorn, which was linked to a lung disease in factory workers? Diacetyl. Disease related to unhealthy diets for question 91. Which condition linked to excessive consumption of ultra-processed foods involves the disruption of gut microbiota and increased intestinal permeability, potentially leading to autoimmune diseases? Leaky gut syndrome. What long-term condition associated with high sugar diets results in advanced glycation end products that damage blood vessels and accelerate aging? Advanced glycation syndrome. Overconsumption of which common additive in processed foods is linked to metabolic acidosis and an increased risk of chronic kidney disease? Phosphates. A diet rich in red and processed meats is strongly associated with what form of inflammation, often beginning as polyps in the large intestine? Colorectal cancer. Which metabolic condition caused by long-term high fructose consumption is characterized by impaired purine metabolism, leading to painful joint inflammation? Hyperuricemia. What condition, often linked to a diet high in omega-6 fatty acids and low in omega-3s, contributes to systematic inflammation and increased cardiovascular risk? Imbalanced fatty acid syndrome. Excessive consumption of added sugars and refined carbohydrates has been linked to chronic liver damage through what biochemical process? De novo lipogenesis. Which rare but severe disorder caused by long-term vitamin B1 deficiency from high alcohol and carbohydrate consumption leads to brain damage and memory loss? Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome. What advanced stage of malnutrition caused by prolonged consumption of nutrient-deficient diets results in severe wasting and immune system failure? Marasmus. Which metabolic disorder linked to a high intake of sugary beverages and refined carbs is characterized by the body's inability to properly process fat, leading to fatty liver and insulin resistance? Non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Bonus question, what is the name of the famous quiz show that began airing back in the UK in 1998 and was hosted by Chris Tarrant? Let us know the answer in the comments, along with how you ranked with our quiz class Einstein Rewards. As always, thanks for playing this quiz. We hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you in our next one. Bye-bye.